I pressed. Hi, my name is Vincenzo Berghel, and it's a pleasure for me to welcome you to what's new and exciting at the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Maternal-Fetal Medicine, AJOG MFM. It's really the first go live session we have, and I want to thank my co-host for getting this together and for being so helpful at AJOG MFM. Lynn, Daniele, please introduce yourself. Lynn?
Hi, my name is Lena Hafez. I am a social media editor at the AJOG MFM Journal and soon to be an assistant professor at UT Southwestern in Dallas.
Daniele?
Good morning. I'm Daniele Di Mascio. I'm assistant professor at Sapienza University of Rome, and I am the social media editor-in-chief for AJOG MFM. Thanks to everybody for being with us today.
Daniele, keep it on yourself. Can you show your shirt actually 1 sec?
Yeah,
I love what you're wearing. Yeah, the pink FM, maternal-fetal medicine. Thank you for doing that. That's a great surprise. Well, there's a lot going on at AJOG MFM, and I'm just going to go through it. I thank Lynn for helping me go through what's new.
Absolutely. We have a series of questions to kind of go through so that we can learn more about the Pink Journal. So this is so exciting that this is the first live streaming event for us at the Pink Journal. And so naturally, the first question that comes to mind, Dr. Berghella, is to tell us a little bit more about how the Pink Journal originated or the idea of the Pink Journal came from.
So we are the sister journal to AJOG, the great journal, the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology, the longest running, journal in our specialty, 1869, 153 years. And the idea has been long coming. The editor-in-chief, Dr. Romero, has had this idea that we had so many wonderful papers at AJOG that just wouldn't have enough pages to fit them in. So he has been pledging Elsevier for a while, the publisher of AJOG, to do other sub-journals like JAMA has JAMA Pediatrics or Lancet has Lancet Oncology, et cetera, et cetera. And so the first sister journal to the great journal, AJOG, became the Journal of Maternal-Fetal Medicine. I also need to thank Elsevier, our publisher. Andrea Bocelli has been fantastic in helping us from the beginning. And she was the one who gave me the unexpected call to be the first editor-in-chief. And I like actually the Elsevier logo, non solus, not alone. This is really a collaboration of a huge team. The tree actually is the publishing company that gives us kind of the power, the software, the know-how on how to publish. And Elsevier, as you know, is the number one in this business. And the leaves I see, and I think Elsevier sees as the manuscripts, the science, or brain cells as authors and reviewers and editors. So it's a great collaboration between the publisher, Elsevier, and our new Pink Journal.
I love that diagram. I feel like it ties it all well together. I think another question a lot of people want to know the answer to is why pink?
So that's not an easy answer. But it came to me, from the beginning. I actually have loved all along the fact that many of our journals in obstetrics have color. So the Gray Journal I mentioned, there's the famous Green Journal. Having been an editor at BJOG, the British Journal, I actually pledged for them to be called the Blue Journal. There's a black journal in OBGYN, the Journal of Maternal Fetal and Neonatal Medicine. So pink was missing, and it's a shame, because most of our patients really are pregnant women, not only pregnant individuals in general. Now most of our trainees, residents, fellows, and most of our professors really are women. Pink is also the color associated with new life since the old scriptures, so to speak. So I thought new life, power to women and their babies. I thought pink was the perfect color for a journal.
So tell us, what is the main aim of the Pink Journal?
So we aim high, I guess, Lynn, aim high, improve the health of mothers and babies. These are 3 months old Cesare,
I love
born
this picture.
safely 3.5 months ago. You can see here his older brothers, Andrea, now a medical student, and Pietro, my sister, my wife, Federica. This is all about really making hopefully healthy babies, keeping healthy mothers and pregnant individuals. There are 145 million birds in the world every year, and we can make them safer. We can decrease everything, maternal perinatal mortality, stillbirths, etc. And we're on our way, worldwide. And I think at the AJOG MFM, we want to make a big difference and continue to improve the health of mothers and babies.
Absolutely. Can you talk to us about the structure of the Pink Journal?
Yeah, I as I said before, major team effort, and thanks again, Lynn, to you, social media editor, to Daniele. But from the beginning, Tracy Manor was my co-editor from the very first issue in March 2019, and soon after we got so big that Emily Miller joined as well, and they've been fantastic. They've reviewed hundreds and hundreds of papers, each of them. It's a thankless in some way a job. It's really important to decide what gets published, and I can't thank them enough. And the team, it's even bigger. Here's the editorial board, and it is a pink editorial board. 45% of OBGYN journals editors are females. In the Pink Journal, it's over 67%. Dr. Belusi, Chauhan, Dugoff, Gee, McKean, Dr. Lewis joined us recently and has been fantastic. Dr. McIntosh, Freddie, Saccone, Werner, and Wiley. Really amazing help from them to review a lot of our content. Actually, this is huge part of the team. Daniele, this is your thing. Why don't you jump in and talk about?
Yeah, this is the social media committee. So the social media committee is composed by 15 people, and I'm the social media editor in chief for this couple of years. And so there is a majority of people are fellow or OBGYN residents from United States, while Luigi is from Italy. And every month there is a person in charge that is responsible for posting videos and news and to share the latest data published on AJOG MFM. In one of the next slide, you will find my email address. So if any one of you is interested in joining our team, we are more than happy to involve any one of you. And international editorial board is up to you now.
And this kind of signifies, Daniele, thank you for your work, and thanks to Vanita Jain, who was your predecessor, did a great job kind of getting it off the ground. Lots of diversity, as you can see, and lots of diversity having editors from 6 continents, from Africa, from Asia, from South America, North America, Europe, etc. It's really important, I think, to be diversified and to have voices from all over the world.
And I second that, what you said, Daniele, being involved in the social media committee myself the last couple of years, it's just been such a great experience. So anyone that wants to join, please do. I highly recommend it. So this is a question that comes up a lot, and I find people ask me this question too because they know that I'm part of the social media committee. So this is a great question to ask you, Dr. Bergella, is what kind of manuscripts is the Pink Journal interested in, or what are they looking for?
Great question, Lynn. So I think maybe the one phrase I would like to emphasize is practice changing, to supply researchers and clinicians with up-to-date guidance, as you can see, on how to best manage women in high-risk pregnancy and their onboard children, and even low-risk pregnancy for that matter. We published a lot on labor and delivery and low-risk women. The emphasis, it's especially on things that eventually will end up in international guidelines and really practice changing things. Like next week, we'll talk about manual rotation, for example. We published several RCTs now and meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials that I think are going to change the practice of manual rotation. And we publish things on lots of things that I think are changing practice. The truth is, level 1 evidence is the one that makes the most impact and gets mostly into ACOG and SMFM and international guidelines. So we really would love to attract those papers. Many get presented at SMFM, and they're great. Over 50 randomized studies were presented there. And so we try to emphasize on those. We also published, obviously, retrospective reviews and clinical opinions and lots of research letters, but the emphasis is on practice-changing trials and meta-analysis of trials.
And then can you talk to us about the process of submission?
Yeah, so I think it's pretty easy. We're online only journal. The direct website you see there, editorialmanager.com/AJOG Editorial Manager is the software most used by the best journals, even outside of OBGYN. But if you can remember that longer link, AJOGMFM.org is the, you can find the link to submit on AJOGMFM.org. That's easy to remember. Some of the journals come from AJOG, so most of them, over 3/4, we have direct submissions, but some of them, 20-25%, come from AJOG, from the Gray Journal. There's actually now, you can decide even as you submit to AJOG. Hopefully you'll get into AJOG, a wonderful journal, but if the Gray Journal declines you, there is an option for you to get waterfalled, as you can see from the pink waterfall here, to AJOG MFM. We're sister journals, so we're happy to help you get your best work published.
So another topic that we really wanted to bring up today, and I think it's a very important topic to discuss, is the topic of diversity. So Dr. Bergella, can you talk to us about what the Pink Journal is doing about diversity?
Yeah, thanks, Lynn. It's a really, maybe the hottest issue in editing, like you say. So happy to announce that Terry and Bennett has agreed to be our new DI editor, and it's very new information. I hope she doesn't mind sharing it. But we have a lot of manuscripts and great science on diversity, equity, inclusion. We're continuing to improve our policies. We actually would like every research team, from the beginning of starting a research, to be diverse, to have, gender, race, ethnic group, geography, etc., to have all kinds of diversity, to have a diverse editorial board. We started being double-blind from the beginning, which I think decreases bias. Our instruction to authors are very much geared towards, being against any discriminations or racism. We have AJOG MFM fellows that helps us that, and certainly you guys, Lynn and Daniele, have been great in social media promoting some of the science on DEI research. These are a list of topics, and you can see that it's not just racism and disparities, but many other things have to do with these issues of DEI topics, barriers to care, mental health, mortality, determinants. And we actually published quite a few on academia, research promotion, making sure that women and any individual, aside from gender, aside from race, and ethnic group, gets promoted, gets good health care, and nobody kind of gets left behind. This is a paper I want to emphasize because it's near and dear to my struggling heart when we see so many papers on DEI, and it's difficult actually to evaluate them. This paper kind of say that Black race, for example, is associated with more vertex, cephalic presentations at term, which is something when I received this paper I didn't know. It went to the reviewers. The reviewers were actually positive, but I was still puzzled why, the color of your skin should have anything to do with a baby presentation, a term, vertex or breech. Yeah. But then there was as you see here, reference 5, which you can read from this paper, which it's a excellent kind of anthropologic paper explaining that it's really sub-Saharan ethnicity and pelvis shape and other issues aside from just the color of your skin that make Black women have more vertex babies. So again, we acknowledge diversities, but we as you can see, when I have nothing that may imply that one individual is superior to the other or different than the other on grounds of race, gender, age, culture, sexual orientation, disability, health conditions, etc. So we have it written. We try to focus on this every day. It's not easy, I can tell you, and we need your help to keep us straight. But I'm very happy that, again, we have a great team to help us through so many papers on these issues.
Yeah, I love that there's a segment there about using inclusive language as part of the instructions to the authors. That's wonderful. So what makes the Pink Journal unique?
So I get, we're the newest, I guess, and then some of the stuff I went over. I think that we're very diverse, as I showed you already.
Yeah.
We really try to publish the best evidence-based, research, away from even, the biases that you can have in research. We have, as I'll show you, a quick turnarounds from submission to decision of publication. We have strict criteria so that we are really focusing on not publishing any untrue, research, in particular in randomized controlled trials. They have to be registered. They have to be strict criteria that those randomized studies indeed happen and the data is pristine and true. And I think, double blind, it's a major factor in our cap as well.
And the social media committee makes education well.
And the social media is the best in the world.
Yeah, we have the best group. We have the best team.
Nothing better. Absolutely. Very true.
Okay, so something we wanted to go back to, it was mentioned in your previous slide, is double blind. Could you tell us more about that double blind process?
Yeah, I feel very strongly about this, and I thank Elsevier for letting us go from the very beginning, with double blind review. So double blind means that reviewers don't know the author's names or affiliations. They know the title, they can see the numbers and the science and the text, but they have no idea where that paper comes from. And we did this since the first issue, again, March in 2019. And as you know, there are over 80 OBGYN scientific journals, so many. And I don't know how many others doing double blind. Of the major ones, the Green started doing it last year, and actually they just reported that they're going to officially start now in 2022 to do that. So I'm very, very happy. And we think, especially with these issues of discrimination, it's so important to be double blind because it has been shown to lower acceptance rate, so you're less biased. If Lynn sends a paper or Daniela sends a paper, I know that they send it, I'm going to be biased towards them. I can't help it. I no training can take my bias away from people I have interacted with, friends and trainees, etc. So that I think is super important. This is actually a paper justifying that. Adina Kerr-Goldberg was really a first AJOG MFM fellow, and together with Emily Miller, who I have to thank because she has really pushed a lot of these issues and the AJOG MFM fellows. This is published in the Gray Journal, and the data from comparing double-blind peer-reviewed in 8 studies on author gender shows that really gender bias may exist in scientific publishing, and the double blinding, so making sure that the reviewer doesn't know who sent the paper in, can mitigate the impact. And I'm so happy that the Gray Journal published this. It's so important. This is actually going to be in press. It's getting revisions at the at our journal, at the Pink Journal. I want to thank Dr. Uchi in particular for putting this together. There are 11 randomized studies with thousands of reviewers and thousands of manuscripts comparing double versus single blind peer review. So again, level 1 evidence on what we do, and there is level 1 evidence comparing double versus single blind. And the evidence is that manuscripts acceptance rates are significantly lower if you don't know the authors' names. Meaning, if I don't know if it's Lynn or Daniele, sorry to make the comparison again, I'm less inclined to accept it because again, I'm not biased, about that. Unfortunately, there is very little evidence on institution prestige. If you come from Sapienza in Rome or Parkland, on race, on geographic origin, but on gender. There is some evidence, as you can see here in the penultimate bullet, that blinding on male's author's name, so not knowing that it's a male name as an author, is associated with significant decrease in acceptance rates. So that's gender bias. You're biased that if Jennifer sends a paper in, she's going to get less accepted than if John, sends a paper in. And we cannot tolerate that. That's why we're double blind. We're going to continue to be double blind. It's not a perfect system, as you can see there. Sometimes you can figure out that, they randomized 6,000 women in 14 major centers, and, it's the Arrive trial and it's Bill Grobman. But we're going to try our best, and please make any suggestions to be blind to the authors, so to stay to the science and not to any, and not be, submitted to any bias.
So earlier you showed a wonderful slide showing the editorial board, and obviously appropriately you have experts in the field. Other than the social media committee, we wanted to know if there was any younger generation representation at the Pink Journal.
Yeah, we pink women but also pink young, it's, you're a perfect example. Daniela's a perfect example. We showed a social committee.
Yeah.
We think there's average age there. It's probably 25, 30, and we do have fellows. In fact, if you're interested in becoming an AJOG MFM fellow, every year we're going to get 3. And again, I thank Emily Miller for this wonderful initiative of hers. Right now, Matt, Jen, and Kate are fellows. You can see they have many objectives. And one of the main ones is to kind of go over the review process, what makes a good reviewer, which is music to my ear, because really a journal like ours depends on the reviewers. Reviewers are everything, and they're the ones who really decide what gets published, what doesn't, and especially how we can improve a paper that is already good and can be even better. They have lots of ideas. I think they'll be in a future StreamYard with us soon, going over these issues. I'm hoping they will be at SMFM, disseminating some of their findings and disseminating how to be a good reviewer, not only for the Pink Journal, but for any medical and obstetric journal. So really lots of fun. And if you see I think SMFM does the recruiting and the decisions on who gets selected. So I thank SMFM for doing that, and I look forward to working with the next young generation, because you guys are the ones who are going to change the world. We are not done yet, but want to pass the baton to all of you.
I'm glad you think we're young. That's great. So how is the Pink Journal doing so far?
I think we're doing great. I again, Elsevier has let us do whatever we want, so to speak. I'm sure Andrea is listening, but I think she would agree. We have lots of free manuscripts in editor choice. We're publishing more often. We have now about 50 plus papers sent to us every month. Think about it, almost a couple of papers every day comes in our bin. and so we went from quarterly to every other month, and I think soon we'll be on a monthly basis. We went almost right away on PubMed and Google Scholar, which is not easy. I think we have some of the best instructions. Again, we have some of the best social media. team. Thanks to you guys as well. So we really are doing well, and maybe one of the best um, signs of success, outcome I always look at as the sign of success. We more than doubled our submissions in the first 2 years, from less than 250 to over 500 papers a year in 2021. 20% are on rate, ethnicity, and DI issues. So I love what we get as submissions. The vast majority, as you can see here, from the beginning, were original research papers, systematic reviews, research letters, expert reviews. Really, I've been amazed at the quality and not only the quantity. You need the quantity, but even more the quality of these papers. We published, I think, over 22 randomized studies already. We get papers from all over the world, mostly from the US. We certainly are AJOG MFM, American Journal, but we do get Italy, Israel, Australia, Canada, et cetera. And so it's great to see that we get papers from all continents, really, the Middle East, as you can see, the South America, Asia, etc. We do get some papers, as I said before, from AJOG that waterfall to us. And one of the first things I was pleasantly surprised with is that, as you could see, the 59%, that's when we ask somebody that gets declined at AJOG if they want to submit to AJOG MFM, the majority of them says yes. So we're soon becoming the next choice from when you get declined at AJOG. And it's quite a few articles. Our acceptance rate, it's about 30% for original research, direct submissions. If you get declined at AJOG, you get decent reviews. The acceptance rate, maybe even higher, but it's certainly not 100%. If you submit from AJOG to AJOG MFM, we're not
guaranteed.
We're not. It's not natural. It's not that you get declined. In fact, you can submit from AJOG to AJOG MFM without answering the reviews to AJOG. It's a volunteer issue if you want to answer to the AJOG reviewers if you got reviewed, and especially only when you get invited, it's your acceptance rate a little higher. This is another one of our accomplishments. We will have an impact factor in mid-June, like all others. This will be the first one for us, which I'm delighted and praying about. But there are many other ways to score a journal. This is the site score. And the first one we ever had, came last year in June 2021, looked at the site score for 2020. And the first year is really of citations available. And incredibly, you can see the calculations here. We came second in the more than 80 OBGYN journal and 19th. So even when we compare ourselves to Lancet, New England, Nature, Cell, etc., 19th. Among almost 800 journals. So I don't think we're going to do always this good, but certainly the beginning has been bright, has been bright pink, I guess.
There's a comment for you, Prof.
Oh, it's because of you, Vincenzo. Congratulations. Thank you, Canada. Thank you, Canada.
Absolutely.
I hope I showed that, in fact, we have a lot of Canadian submissions, and the whole special issue on twins was really led by Canadian investigators. So it's not me. It's the village. But thank you for that comment.
That's absolutely wonderful. Now I have a question for our social media editor-in-chief, Daniele. What is the Pink Journal doing on social media?
So yes, this is our activity on social media. We have thousands of followers either on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and let me tell you that people have been following us since the beginning of AJOG MFM live, but a significantly increase in the attention through our social media was in 2020, right after the pandemic outbreak. Maybe that's because AJOG MFM has been one of the first journal publishing evidence or first data on COVID-19 and pregnancy. So people follow our social media just to know something new on the latest evidence and news on COVID-19 and pregnancy. And once again, our fans, our followers from all over the world, from all the 5 continents, and we are really happy about this activity. And once again, if you want to join our family, just send an email to me or to Dr. Bergella, and we will be more than happy to involve any one of you.
Please join. Okay, Dr. Bergella, back to you. Are there any papers that you are particularly proud of?
Oh, there are so many papers. Again, the previous comment, before I forget, I'm just saying it was from John Barrett from Canada. They're the ones that did the twin mode of delivery trials in the past. The term breach trials. Some of the best investigators in the world. I'm so proud to collaborate with them and for them to send so much research to the Pink Journal. So there are many journals. There are many manuscripts. Even the first issue, Lynn, there was a randomized study on vaginal cleansing, which by Dr. Lackey, which was wonderful. There have been trials, as I said before, on manual rotations. A lot of excellent papers on COVID, around Dr. Bolig. I remember when Mary Dalton called me at the very beginning of the pandemic and told me that they had the first data because New York was so hit at the beginning. And she said, we're going to send you papers. Can you publish it? And we published their papers after review within a week of getting it in. And I thank those reviewers for reviewing things so quickly. Some of those papers got 200, 400 reviews. In fact, Daniele Di Mascio right here, I think, how many citations does your paper on COVID, the meta-analysis have?
450, more or less.
That's amazing.
I mean, a new journal is probably like our 4th or 5th issue, not even, one of our first handful of issues, and 450 citations. I think you got cited in the New England Journal, Lancet, everywhere. Those and the list is very long, but I think I can't thank you enough. The people who are sending us papers. The papers have been outstanding, and for COVID alone, really helped save. I don't want to exaggerate, but I think it helped save or improve, thousands of lives worldwide.
Other than articles, are there like issues that stand out, like special issues from the Pink Journal?
Yeah, again, I want to thank Elsevier for letting us do kind of special issues and special sessions. This is near and dear to my heart, evidence-based labor management. We're going to do 10 different papers, and we already published, let's see, the first 4. The 5th one on 3rd stage is being reviewed right now, and postpartum care is being written. I thank some of you, that who have been, part of this, including Lynn and Daniele, who have been authors of some of this excellent papers. I think it's important to review the evidence. I just heard that ACOG finally is going to have a practice bulletin on labor. I mean, we deal with labor all the time, and we don't talk about the thousands of randomized studies that guide our management or should guide our management. And I thought that this was a good way to put lots of information together and see if warm compresses or pushing right away or not pushing right away, or being on a knee chest, or using a peanut balloon, a peanut ball, or a water balloon. All of the stuff we use, are they really evidence-based or not? And I think you saw a lot of the evidence beautifully summarized in some of these papers. We also have a couple of special issues very recently published. One, Dr. Gee from Parma and many other people around the globe did the use of ultrasound, a very controversial hot topic, the use of ultrasound in labor and delivery. I think that they will do actually, Lynn, a stream live like this one at the end of April, beginning of May. They're deciding with the co-investigators on the day. And the group from Canada, Amir and John, etc., did a wonderful special issue on twins, which came out, I think, last week. If you want to go to ajogmfm.org and look at that. And they'll also do a live stream event on that issue in the next couple months.
Maybe our labor issue is what inspired ACOG, Dr. Burgell.
I hope so. I hope so. I think
That's
we're
what I'm gonna
getting
believe.
coffee. Yeah, I think we're getting coffee with all kinds of places, all kinds of ways, from other journals, from guidelines. I think you're right.
Maybe. That's what I'm going to choose to believe anyway. I love this next question. Are there any unsung heroes?
Well, I think we sang many years, but I think the unsung heroes are the reviewers. We have hundreds and hundreds of reviewers, and this is volunteer work. I know many of you, Lynn, Daniela, many of the people listening to us are, review papers on the weekend, at night, and it's really a humongous responsibility, to grade it, to say this analysis should be done, or this is wrong, or this should have been done this other way. That's why, kind of from the beginning, we decided that reviewers should be acknowledged. You can see the reviewers of the year for 2020, and then in 2021, Adam, Medina, Lakshmi being recognized. We put their faces and kind of brief bios in the journal at the beginning of one of the last issues. Again, our biggest thank you from AJOG MFM to the reviewers. We couldn't live without them, and the minimum we can do is to recognize them. I don't know if reviewers know, we actually get graded when you send a review in by us editors, and so it's beautiful when you see that some of you, and many of them, as you can see from the list here, are very young MFMs and obstetricians, and they do a wonderful job for us and many other journals.
Can you talk to us about what to expect that is new and exciting for the future?
I'm so excited. I don't know where to start. Sometimes you can, hopefully it's coming through the video here. But we have this new wonderful DEI editor, and she's fantastic. Terry, I think, is going to do a great job. David Ass, who is the head of the United States Cochrane Library, will do hopefully a series of summaries on what comes out in the Cochrane. I'm a huge Cochrane believer, and meta-analysis of randomized trials, and hopefully will help Cochrane disseminate their great work. The impact factor is coming in June, and again, it's not the end all be all, but I think it'd be an important step for people to see how we're doing. I think we're going to have more and more issues since we have so many more submissions. And I think maybe one of the most exciting parts is the next live streaming events. Let me tell you why I have verba volant scripta manent, from the Latin up there in the slide. I think it's a good story. So I studied a lot of Latin and Greek, when I was a teenager in Italy, like probably Daniele did. And so that means, and I've known it for 40 years now, that spoken words, verba volant, fly, and written words, scripta manent, stays, remains. And I always thought that, if you speak, kind of your words get lost, they fly away, they get, it's like, mist, that disappears. While the written words, stays forever, and then, that's great, that's a positive thing. Scripta is more important than verba. And then a good friend of mine from high school, maybe 5-10 years ago, told me, I don't think so. Whomever wrote this, I think, felt that actually written words stay there, never move, and verba, your spoken word, what we're doing today, these live streaming events fly. They get disseminated a lot more And that's why I'm so excited about this stream live events. I think I saw some at JAMA in the past by their editor-in-chief, and we're certainly not JAMA, but I think disseminating things with the actual investigators will be wonderful. So we're going to start next week, March 31st at 5 p.m. Eastern. So adjust your clock, wherever you are.
Tune in.
We published multiple randomized trials on how to rotate, manual rotation kind of in the second stage, and also the meta-analysis, major citation and quotation for these papers. And so the investigators from Australia and from all over the world will be there. And then we published quite a few papers on randomized studies in obstetrics. So how many randomized studies are there in obstetrics? Which ones get published? What's the quality? What should be the quality of those trials? And we'll do that April 7th at 5 p.m. And we have a long list of future topics. As I said, twins, ultrasound use in labor, COVID, in particular vaccines. So stay tuned with Danielle and Lynn in terms of social media presentations, which we'll do on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc.
Yeah, we'll let you know what's coming. I could tell that this was your favorite question of the interview today, is asking you about what's new and exciting for the future. Okay, last few questions. How can you get an AJOG MFM subscription?
Yeah, so really easy. You go to the website, ajogmfm.org, ajogmfm.org, and you can subscribe. I want to emphasize the box there in the darker pink, that SMFM members receive a special discount for access. And if you put that SMFM get 20 code in, you get SMFM for a year at $20, which I'm hoping doesn't discriminate against anybody, and it's affordable for everyone. So I'm very happy that Elsevier again is supporting us and making it nice and easy.
And then I think the next question is how to teach us how to get alerts.
Yeah, so I get alerts from many journals. The Gray, for example, the Lancet, New England, and others which I adore. And you can get also alerts through your email or other ways. If you go to ajogmfm.org again, you see the arrow to alerts. You can press alerts, and you can get either the issue when it comes out, or you can get articles as soon as they get accepted, kind of in initial forms, whichever way you like to receive the information. And I think, the young investigators hopefully who are listening to us, they should do this for their favorite journals. It's so important to actually not hear only, maybe CNN or the New York Times or our mentor talk to us about an important new paper on pregnancy, but to also, kind of read it and get the news right away from the source.
And I think we do. I think we posted, Daniela, just remind me if correct me if I'm wrong, but we did post a video on our social media platform showing people how to get alerts. I think I'm pretty sure we have that on Instagram Reels and
yes, we did a few weeks ago, but I think that we should post like every month because
as reminders. Yeah. Those are all my questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Amir. Thank you, John. But in particular, thank you, Lynn, and thank you, Daniele. So March 31st, next Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern. I guess that's 10 p.m. in Rome, right? Next week. Watch for day saving, times and all of that. And please join us and please give us feedback on what you like and what you don't like. Feel free to suggest topics, for the future as well. Thank you again, the over 16,000 people who follow us on social media, and thank you for supporting with your research, your hard work. AJOG MFM. Thank you again, Daniela Lynn, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone listening.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.